How do you do? I'm Flintaroo. So, Warriors. I've been obsessed with the book since I was in elementary school, and the series is what made me start drawing. I have a bunch of old designs I did in like 2018, 2019, and I thought it'd be fun to redraw them. We're starting with Squirrelflight or Star, whatever. I'm just gonna color Squilf because that's what's easiest for me. Here's a collage of old designs. I'm most attached to this one from 2018, so that's what I'm basing this new design on. This was actually the first drawing process I recorded that was going to be put in a video, so it may or may not be semi-chaotic. Fun fact, I've been using Clip Studio Paint since 2020, but didn't figure out how to activate pen pressure until about a month ago. That was a fun revelation, a lot of smacking my head on the wall in the corner with an idiot cap. So ever since I started drawing, I've had this version of Squilf in mind that plays into the time that the fandom didn't really like her because they thought she was a scamp that played Ashfur and Brambleclaw. What was that a thing? I didn't make that up, right? In elementary school, the other people who read the books thought that, Anyways, in this little semi-alternate universe, Squilf is a little two-times scamp. She likes getting attention and found it fun toying with Ashfur and Brambleclaw. She's still got the same feisty, fun personality, but we're adding on a more flirtatious trait to her. She loves flirting with other cats and gets a kick out of seeing their reactions. Like in the books, she ends up going back and forth between dating Ashfur and Brambleclaw. During this, she realizes there's more chemistry with her and Bramble rather than her and Ashfur, so she dumps the gray r/nice guy. Essentially what happens canonically, just with a slightly tweaked personality. Talking about the actual design now, I imagine her being more of a bright orange than a dark ginger. I can never remember if her white paw is on the left or the right side, so I just went with the... Did I put it on the left? I don't know my left from my right, I'm sorry. I don't really know why I put a flower by her ear. I just thought it was cute, and the complementary colors added a little something to the design. I don't know, I think it's cute. I like it. For some reason, I always imagine Squirrelflight with like Applejack freckles. I don't know why, but it's like an essential part of her design in my mind. If it doesn't have freckles, it's not Squilf. That's just how my mind works. Mind rules, not I don't make the rules, my mind does. And here's my final Squirrelflight. I think this design does the original justice. I like how it turned out. Next up, we have Leafpool, my favorite. I love her so much. You guys have no idea. I just love her. She's my baby. Here's a collage of all her old designs, which is not too many. I think it's just like one really old one that I hate, and then like one from like a couple months ago, and then one from like 2018, I don't know, 2019 actually, I think. I go back and forth between thinking of her as like a fluff ball or pretty like sleek cat. This time I decided to go the fluff ball route. I actually struggled a bit with the design. You'll see that I had a hard time drawing her face, or more specifically her eyes. You see, currently my favorite thing to draw is characters with big ol' eyes looking up at the camera, and that ended up coming out here. I drew her eyes a lot bigger than I intended, and it wasn't very Leafpool-esque, you know? I feel like she'd have like narrower eyes, not like big eyes. Garbage can outside, never mind. I hear the garbage people outside, so. No! Spam phone call, go away! Hang on. No spam today. Alright, can I just say, Leafpool was robbed. She is underrated and deserved so much more than she was given. Her life was pretty terrible if you think on it, and I feel like it gets overshadowed by Squirrelflight, not to mention the trauma Squirrelflight went... Oh. Not to undermine the trauma Squirrelflight went through, but I think we need to bring to light the depth of the Leafpool trauma. Let me just say, Squirrelflight won her mate's heart back. Her kids forgave her, and she had her own set of kids who love her. Squirrelflight became leader of ThunderClan. Leafpool wasn't able to really visit her mate until after she died. Leafpool's kids never truly forgave her and felt awkward around her till she died and proceeded to argue over her dead body about whether or not she was a good mother. She died under a rock slide because of a whole territorial argument that shouldn't have escalated in the first place. Guys, Leafpool's life sucked. So I was thinking on this while I was drawing and realized I'm an artist. I can do whatever I want. Whatever I want. So I decided to make a Good Vibes Warriors AU just so I could give Leafpool a better life. In this alternate universe, Leafpool keeps her kids. When she leaves with Squilf to have them, and Feathertail and Yellowfang descend from StarClan to scold her, Squilf steps up and is like, hold up, we're not doing any of that, you indecisive hypocrites. So, and they don't. They walk back to ThunderClan and say, Leafpool had kids, and if you have a problem with it, take it up with Firestar. Step 1 to a better life complete. I'll continue talking about this on the other designs, but here's my final Leafpool design. Later on off camera, I went back and fixed her eyes and facial markings because they were bothering me. Next up is Jayfeather. Honestly, I don't blame Jayfeather for acting like a grumpy old man. If I'd been through what he'd been through, I'd be an icy hard butt too. So, in my Good Vibes alternate universe, Leafpool keeps her kids, and they're raised in the medicine den. I like to think that Brightheart helped out while Leafpool was busy with taking care of them. Okay, so different environment means some slightly different personalities and motives for the three. This is a Good Vibes AU, but there's gotta be some kind of conflict or else it's like, there's gotta be balance. Because their birth broke 2 codes, a lot of cats in ThunderClan are very judgmental towards them. They're a hot gossip topic and not in a good way. Some of the cats learn to be okay with the 3, while others are completely disgusted by their existence. One day, Daykit overhears some cats talking about how his blindness must be a curse enacted by Leafpool's code violations. He decides the best way to prove them wrong is to train to become a warrior and find a way to navigate past his blindness. Like in the books, it doesn't go too well, and he ends up back in the medicine den. However, he does appreciate being able to still spend quality time with his mother, so it's a little better than, before. I'm actually having a lot of fun making this, if you can't tell. Messing with the storyline is, really fun, actually. Jumping into design, the first way I drew Jayfeather's head fluff was kind of giving 50-year-old man with a comb over, so I changed it, thank goodness. I really like giving characters traits from their parents because, I don't know, I just like it. So I gave Jayfeather the same tabby markings as his mother, and it doesn't really show in this drawing, but I want him to have the same sleek Wind Clan build as Crowfeather. I distinctly remember the books describing Leafpool as a small tabby she-cat, so in a lineup of the Power of 3 family, I think that she and Jayfeather would be the smallest and about the same size, but Leafpool will look a bit bigger because she's fluffier. I'm gonna be honest, by the end of this drawing, I had forgotten that I was going to give Jayfeather herbal leaves in his fur, like Leafpool, but I can fix this. Let's say that Jayfeather does collect a bunch of leaves in his pelt, but Leafpool always comes and grooms them out of his fur. And, he's chill with it, but if someone walks in the medicine den while she's doing it, he'll get all huffy and be like, oh, I'm not a kid anymore, you don't have to do that. And here we have our grumpy little Jayfeather. Him combined with the background is it's an interesting combination, him in the background. It doesn't match his aesthetic, but it is what it is. I'm sorry in advance if I sound really tired in this. I just woke up and just decided it was time to do the voiceover, so. Next up we have Lionblaze. So I've only designed Lionblaze once before, partially because he's not really one of my favorites, and partially because I just don't know how I'd want to draw him. I definitely struggled a lot with this design. I messed up his eyes just like I did with Leafpool, except it's the opposite problem. His eyes are too narrow, and he looks kind of zesty instead of like a buff idiot. Whoops. I knew from the get-go that I'd give Lionblaze a stockier build, and with lots of fluff along with more intricate tabby markings than Leafpool and Jayfeather. I always imagined Lionblaze as sort of a genetic black sheep, in the sense that he doesn't really look like either of his close relatives marking-wise. Actually, looks closer to how I'd imagine Tiger Star. I might draw Tiger Star close to this if I ever draw him. Anyways, good vibes AU. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of forgot what Lionblaze was like as an apprentice. It's been a long while since I've read The Power of Three. Normally, when I go to reread Warriors books, it's either the Super Editions or the first arc or Dawn of the Clans. Not really like, I don't know, it's not usually like the third or fourth series. Was it? Yeah. Any other arcs I mention or like reference are like straight from memory. So, we're gonna go down the rowdy kid route with Lionblaze. Lionblaze is definitely the most hard-headed hothead out of the three, so he is the one who confronts the cats who gossip about them in this AU. He's a defensive little lion. Where Lionpaw and Jaypaw are good at masking their anger and controlling it, Lionpaw isn't. He's aggressively defensive and gets into a lot of arguments with the other apprentices. He's generally the center of a lot of scuffles. He's a wild child and must learn how to curb his anger. And I think that's like all I have for him. I might have to reread The Power of Three to get a better grasp on his personality. I'm not gonna lie, I think I zoned out in a lot of his chapters. See, it's not that I hate Lionblaze, he's just not the type of character I tend to like. Like, I can pull up a collage of some of my favorite characters, and you can kind of tell what kind of person I am and what character types I like, which is not Lionblaze. I digress. Here's the final Lionblaze. I didn't feel like going back and redrawing his eyes, so I just made a mental note to draw his eyes bigger in future artworks. I think he turned out kind of cool. Not really like what I was expecting, but still cool. And last but not least, we have Hollyleaf. Hollyleaf is another one of my favorite characters. I've drawn her quite a bit, and I remember dressing up as her on a book character dress up day in elementary school. It was just a black cat, it was fun. As soon as I started drawing, I knew that I wanted to give her these really sharp eyes with big eyelashes. I was in like a deep comfort zone when I was drawing Hollyleaf, so I don't have too much to say about her design wise, but I wanted her to get off intimidating cool girl that's actually nice when you get to know her vibes, you know? I feel like that's what she is. In the Good Vibes AU, Hollyleaf's devout sense of following the code stems from the prejudice she receives from being one of Leafpool's kits. As a kid, Hollyleaf is like, I want to be like Mama, and wants to become a medicine cat. She's kind of like the opposite of Jayfeather and thinks the best way to prove herself to the clan is by becoming a medicine cat. You eventually have to trust someone who's treating you, and you kind of have to be an idiot to smack talk the one who's snapping your dislocated leg back into socket. Just saying. As her apprenticeship goes by, Hollyleaf realizes that her place might not be in the medicine den, but out training to be a warrior. However, she feels bad about leaving her mother's side and worries about what others might say. She eventually confides in Leafpool, who tells her that she loves her no matter what choice she makes and she should follow what she believes is right. Leafpool gives Hollypaw a holly plant to show that she's always with her, and Hollypaw races off to become a warrior. I can't remember who Ivypool's mentor was, but I think it'd be fun if Hollyleaf was her mentor in this AU. Their dynamic would be pretty cool. I always liked how they interacted in the like one book they were in, 2 books. The 2 books that they were interacting with together. Final Hollyleaf. I really like how she turned out, and I want to draw her some more actually. I'm pretty satisfied with all the designs in this video. Like and subscribe for part 2. Why do I sound like that? I'll see you next time. Bye bye!